Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live today. It has been a very, very busy weekend, and it's nice to see there's a whole bunch of people that know exactly what I'm talking about being busy, because it's like, oh, we just saw each other. More about that soon. But let's see who's joined us so far, and I trust everybody can hear us, and just let me check on my monitor. Yes, no problem. Okay, great. So, right off the bat, a mystery. Russ of Quilt Meets World was the first one on here. And yet, he's running a sew day as we speak. How can Russ do it? How can he be in two spots at once? We'll never know. We'll never know. And Barb is here. Hi, Barb. And Julie is here. And Julie was another one. We just saw you, Julie. She was on the sew day. There were two sew days this weekend. I think a lot of people on here realize that. I had a pop-up sew day on Saturday, yesterday, and Russ had his shenanigans sew day today. It was the inaugural one for Russ, his first one, and I think it was well attended, and I think everybody had a really good time with it all. So it's kind of nice for a change. The pressure was off me. I didn't have to, man the controls or anything. I was just a client. I was just one of the plebes like everybody else. Yeah, there. So it was a good day, and I don't know if Russ will have another one. I'm sure he probably will at some point in time. Donna's here. Hi, Donna. And Candace, Tamela, Terry is here. Suzanne, Sue Norfleet is here. Nice to see you again. Yeah, we have to stop meeting like this, Sue. Saw Sue on Wednesday, saw Sue on Saturday, saw Sue today. People are going to start to talk. Really. Your husband might get suspicious. Well, nothing to fear. Cynthia's here. She says, I jump ship. And Andy's here. Hi, Andy. And Jean is here. Hi, all. Had a great time at Russ's Sew Day. Now on to Walter and Stephen. And Karen is here as well. Jen is here. And Designing J, which is Johanna, is here. Patsy's here. Derek is here. Joanne is here. Kathy is here. And Russ is back. Russ says, has watched that movie Multiplicity to learn how to be in two places at once. Yeah, true, Russ. Grant is here from SoCal. It's finally getting cooler. SoCal, I think that means Southern California, doesn't it? Yeah. Gotta get up with the lingo. Judy is here from Upper Michigan. Jen says, great sew today. Wish I could have been at yours. Well, there'll always be more, Jen. You don't have to worry about it. Can't be everywhere. Melissa is here. Cindy. Sherry Cook is here. And Em's here. Hello, everybody. Well, welcome. Okay, so before we get started here, we are going to end a little bit earlier today. Oh, listen, I can hear them cheering for this, because we are off to my sister's place for dinner tonight. And so we've got to leave here at about 5:15. So we will be stopping at about 15 minutes early at 5:15. Dubravka is here. And yeah, we're going to my sister's for dinner because my niece is having her 30th birthday. And she wanted for her 30th birthday to have a family dinner. And she wanted to make sure we were included as well. So nice niece with that. So yeah, so it'll be my sister, my brother-in-law, my niece Sarah, my nephew
William.
Yeah, that's his name. And his girlfriend will be there too, Tyler. Too. I think she'll be there. And so yeah, it'll be a nice
Taylor.
What'd I say?
Tyler.
No, Taylor. You're right, it's Taylor.
Think of Taylor Dane.
Yeah, right. Taylor Dane. Okay, whatever. Who's Taylor Dane?
I don't know.
Singer, isn't she?
I don't know.
Was? I don't know. Whatever. So, what have we been working on this weekend? Because Walter had a sew day with his garment sewers on Saturday, and
I finished this.
And Walter finished this, but we'll talk more about you. Well, let's talk about yours right now, shall we? Okay.
So yesterday I finished this, And yesterday I started this one, and I didn't have very much done and I continued sewing it today.
It's a kitty shirt.
It's the kitty shirt, and there's my famous pocket on the front here. My pocket
Visible. You can't see it because it's Walter's patented hidden pocket.
My pocket. I can't figure out where the opening is.
Boy, you did a really good job on this one.
Here's the opening.
Yeah.
So,
and
pocket.
If you notice, we are both wearing our Australian shirts because Walter finished this one just a couple of weeks ago on it. I love this shirt. I love that shirt too, but he wanted it.
Actually, I had this shirt on the go. I was going to give this one to him, but then I had the fabric for the cats. Well, I thought, well, I haven't done a shirt for myself for a long time, so I'm going to keep this one.
Fine, you can keep it. Whatever. But so anyways, yeah, Walter's been busy with the shirt making. And let's see, Dubrovka just came in. Gloria's here. And yep, people are liking your shirts and everything. Yeah, I like them. Problem is, it's soon going to turn into fall weather and have to go to long sleeves. And
I'll probably continue wearing short sleeves. I hate wearing long sleeves these days.
Actually, I might end up wearing short sleeves too.
I want to make a couple more long sleeve shirts too. So, but I want to. I don't really like. I'm not sure. I want to change the pattern that I was using because the body's not bad on it, but I find that the sleeves are really tight on the pattern that I have.
Well, we've lost some weight. We might have skinnier arms now.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Got old man arms now, kind of thing. So that's what Walter's been up to. And everybody says you did a good job. Yes, you do. And we are contemplating, if you saw us so chatty the last couple of weeks, you know how we like to do series. Well, we're thinking about doing one on Walter's going to teach me how to sew a shirt. That could be death.
It may be quite a long series.
It could be.
Because I don't too speedy at doing the shirts, and he's and there's maybe a few steps involved.
No, there might be some bloodletting actually. We'll be cutting each other up with scissors. So what have I been working on? Well, I'll show you here. So I finished this. I started this last week. I started around Friday or Thursday or Friday. Didn't realize how many pieces it was going to be involved in this until I got working on it. So I spent all day yesterday, pop-up sew day, working on this. It's an in the hoop project, in the hoop applique. And this morning when I got up, I before the day was over yesterday, I got all the pieces sewn together. So this morning when I got up, I got the backing on it and everything, and I'm really happy with the way it looks. Now, you're looking at it from the top down. We have a round coffee table in our family room, and that's where it is right now. It fits perfectly there. And I'm really proud of it. I think it turned out quite nice. What do you think?
Yes, it looks really nice on the coffee table.
High praise, don't you know? And okay, so we said we're going to my sister's for dinner, and so I'm giving both of the kids, well, my 30-year-old niece, not really a kid, for her birthday. I'm giving her this quilt. I'm trying to remember, is this a Stephanie quilt that I made? Was it one of her patterns? Might be. I think it might be. Can't remember now. But anyways, I think she'll like that. Her favorite color is purple, but I didn't really have another purple one in my bunch. Well, that's not really true because this is the one I'm giving her, but her brother, my nephew, his birthday's in a couple of weeks as well. So I figured I'd kill two birds with one stone. And I'm giving him this one. And this one is more in the purples, but I thought the other one would be more appropriate for a young lady, and this one might be more appropriate for a guy. And this is an early quilt. This is a quilt I made. There's a label on this one.
Is this one bigger than the one you're giving your niece?
No, I don't think it is.
Oh.
They're both about the same size. In fact, this one might be a little smaller. I'm not sure. But they're close. But this one has a label on it, and I never label my quilts. I made this one in 2019. So early stages. And this was before I had Lucy. And I quilted this all on the domestic machine, and I did walking foot quilting on this one. So yeah, it's just loops around, as you can see in some parts of it. But I thought, this will be okay. I think you'll like that one. And I found a couple of things that I could do in the hoop. My niece is big into Dungeons and Dragons. I think she's a dungeon master, mistress, whatever they call them. I don't know. And I found a couple of embroidery patches that have to do with Dungeons and Dragons. So I did those as well for her and thrown them in with it. And yeah, so I hope they like them. Apparently they do use the two quilts. I gave them each quilt about 2 years ago at Christmas. And according to my sister, they use them because she was saying that the one I gave my nephew really needs to be washed. And she says, is there anything I have to watch out? Can I wash it? I said, yeah, you can wash it. I said, it's been in the washing machine before. Before I give anybody a quilt, they've already been washed and everything. So I said, yeah, you can just throw it in the washing machine, wash it in cold. I always wash them in cold kind of a thing. And then throw it in the dryer, no problem. So that's what they are getting. Whether they want them or not, they're getting them. It's so simple as that. Let's see. Dubrovka says she'd love to see shirt making. It won't be a tutorial as per se, although I suppose you will learn something, but it's not meant to be a tutorial. It's because Walter doesn't like to do tutorials. So this is, we don't know what it's going to be.
This will be just Steve sewing the shirt based on what I'm telling him to show. So
yeah, we'll see how that works out. I'm not sure when we're going to start that, so we'll see. I think this week coming up on So Chatty, someone requested we talk about threads again and types and brands and things you should need to know. So I think that's probably what we're going to talk about, which means I have to do a little more research on it because I get confused about threads too. And so is Walter, but he won't admit to it. Sue says the table topper looks so festive with harvest and fall season. Yeah. Julie says that might be dangerous. I'm sure there will be a few spousal spats. You two will make it comical. Oh, you can bet on there's going to be some screaming matches in here. Yeah. Thank you all for the comments about the quilts. And the table topper. Pace is here. I don't know if I said hello to Julie or yeah, I did say hello to Julie. Of course, I just saw her minutes ago. First thing that goes to memory. Robert Cox is here. Hello, Robert. Branka. Basila Turn. I'm sorry, I'm butchering your name, but glad you're here. Colleen is here. Hello, Steve Waller. I let a wasp in when the cat came home for his supper. Oh, okay. Not good. Hope you got him. I hate wasps. My mission in life is to wipe the world clean of wasps. Andy says, I use 2 quilts Jeannie gave me every day. Yep. Jeannie's quilts are wonderful. Jeannie, by the way, if you don't know who Jeannie is Andy. Sudiku. They're sisters. Oh, look who's on here. Stephanie. She's driving home. Well, safe driving. Don't drive in a ditch watching us. And we missed you at the pop-ups and the so days, but Stephanie's been at one of her retreats for the last few days, so I'm sure we'll hear all about the retreats on Stephanie's channel this week at some point in time. Barb says, maybe you could give your niece one of your articulated dragons. Already have. Already did that. Lily's here. Hi, Lily. Hi, love your new table topper. Your quilt are absolutely beautiful. Great job, Stephen. Well, thank you everybody for that. Okay, so that's what we've been up to. So coming up events, usual. So with Stephanie and Stephen, Wednesdays, 9 o'clock start. Link is in the show notes. Pop-up So Day review. Well, it was a good day. We had, at the height of it, I think there was about 34. During the day, everybody got lots of things done. We saw lots of nice things. There was a lot of enabling going on, as there often is. So when's the next pop-up sew day? Don't know. And in a few weeks' time, we do have the fall retreat, the Idiot Quilter Fall Retreat. And if you have not yet seen my explanation video about how that all works, and if you're new here, you may want to check it out. There's a link for that video in the show notes. It talks all about it. It is a free event, but you do have to register for it. And I talk about how you register. It's not very difficult. And when. That's the important part. When you can register. Not yet, but soon. And of course, Russ, as I already mentioned, had his first shenanigans, is what he's calling it, sew day. And it had about 30 people, I think, at the height of it, too. So lots of people there, lots of repeats from the pop-up sew day, but that's okay. Somebody said today that they enjoyed the pop-up sew days and now Russ's because, you know, we've established a community on there, but that's not to say it's a closed community. New people are definitely welcome to any of those, whether it's Russ's or mine. And you don't need to be fearful of anything. People are extremely friendly, very supportive. There isn't any drama. We just have a really good time. So because my retreat will fall on the 19th, Saturday, October the 19th, and that's only a few weeks away, I probably will not have a pop-up sew day before then because we're now just past, well, today, halfway through September. So I don't know. It'll be maybe a dry month between and now before that because I have things to do. But never say never. Maybe Russ will have one to fill in the gap. It's a possibility. We shall see. Yeah. So those were announcements about all of that kind of thing. So Chatty. Okay. This week we talked all about rulers. And I'm a ruler whore, or was when I first got into quilting. I bought rulers for everything. And if you saw that video, you know that I talked about how many rulers I have and how many I don't use with that. And then after I said all of that at the pop-up sew day, I ordered a new ruler.
and I did have some other rulers that I either forgot to show or I don't use them very often because somebody on one of the pop-up mentioned something about there's a ruler that you can get that helps you put in a zipper in a pair of pants.
Yep.
And I do have those rulers, but I didn't bother showing them because actually I don't use them that often because I've only made a few pairs of pants. So
yeah, I think it was Nancy who brought them up and showed, and she asked if you had them, and I didn't know if you did.
Yeah, and actually it turned out that those two particular rulers are actually difficult to get a hold of because they're not in I think they were what's her name, the one that the lady that had a problem with palsy,
Nancy
Neiman
Nancy Neiman.
Yeah, it was her design or something, and they're difficult to find, and I did find them. Somebody my teacher had one, and he was showing us to use a paper template instead. And I went online and looked around, and I found a pair of these rulers and ordered them.
So were they expensive?
I had to order them from the U.S. And by the time I got them, I think they cost me about $45. So
that's her name. Yeah, Nancy Zeman. Yeah. Angel just came in. Hi, Angel. And I thought, and Billy came in too. Andy says she's looking forward to the fall retreat. She finally broke down. She bought a new laptop. Yay, Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know all the problems you were having with your old one there. So, yeah, the rulers one. Actually, I'm surprised. We've had a lot of comments. People seem to have gotten a lot out of that, which actually I found kind of surprising because although we did talk long enough about them, I didn't think we'd have that much to say about rulers. But I guess we did.
But actually, you really only need one or two rulers, but you end up having more, and you'll find certain rulers do certain things better than other rulers.
Yeah.
And some become handy because they're a little shorter than than lawn rulers, and lawn rulers are better for cutting long pieces of fabric and stuff.
So the new one that I bought is a 2.5 by 36.5 inch ruler. I didn't know that rulers came longer than 24 inches. So I bought it. It wasn't particularly cheap, but really burned my biscuits. Don't know where that expression came from. Never used that one before.
And what brand of ruler was that?
It's a Creative Grid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Creative Grid. It was expensive. Yeah, on Amazon.ca I bought it. It was $79.99 Canadian. But the same ruler on the American Amazon, Amazon.com, was $39 US, which worked out. You worked it out to
I think it's 51.
$51. Like, wow. I mean, even with the exchange rate, what a big difference between the prices.
I mean, you can order it from the U.S. site, but then we end up having to pay.
We'd have to pay duty on it and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not really to our advantage. But geez, I can't believe the difference. Same product and that much of a change in the price.
Well, you know what it is with Amazon too. If they have low supply of something, they jack the prices up.
Yeah, probably. Judy's here too as well, and Inez is here. So yeah, now one thing, well, skipped over it. Anything happen at your day?
No, it was actually kind of boring.
Oh, was the witch there?
No.
Oh.
We haven't had any colorful people.
The guy who makes the straight jackets or whatever?
No, we haven't had any colorful people come. There was one person that was supposed to show up that I had never heard of before, but they never showed up. So, but there was Brendan there, which he's the guy that runs it. There was Mark there. He's another guy that's a friend of Brendan's that had recently got into sewing, and Brendan helps him out with all his projects. He was doing a jean jacket, and it came out very nice. And then there was Marla. She does a lot of costumes and stuff like that, and complains a lot.
Costumes for what?
I don't know, for plays and things like that. So
what, for like Oshawa Little Theater or something?
Yeah, for a little theater or something. I think it's more of a place that kids do plays or whatever. So I mean, it wasn't a kid's costume that she was making, but she does a lot of, and she does a lot of sewing. So she always has some interesting projects that she does. And then Gail is one that always comes, but she could only come for about half a day because she will have to go to a wedding later in the day. So
Gail makes some really beautiful clothes.
Yeah, she makes all her own clothes, and she just makes wonderful looking stuff.
I remember the red coat she made.
She made a red
that
coat.
Was stunning.
Actually, it was more of fuchsia colored coat, and it like fit her very nice on the top, and then it had
it kind of flared out
so that if you spun around, it would be like a dress.
It looked very high end.
And it looked beautiful, and she did a really nice job. She completely lined it. It was beautiful coat.
Yeah, she's a very, very good seamstress. I don't know if that's the proper term anymore.
Sewist. She's just she learned how to sew herself over the years, and she has picked up new techniques. She was part of our sewing group. She got into making the coats because one of the projects in our sewing group was to do a lined coat. So she transported it over to a different pattern, and that's how she made the coat. And it's just it's really nice.
Yeah. So anyways, on a totally different topic. So Walter bought some new things this week. Walter bought pots, as in cooking pots. And of course, he bought, what are they? What's the brand? They're all clad, aren't they?
Yeah, they're expensive. They weren't particularly cheap. They're all clad pans. And stainless pans. So.
Yeah. But then he had to reorganize the kitchen cupboards because he got rid of a lot of the crappy pans that we've had for years. We always had crappy pans.
Well, I bought a set, be 20 years ago, of Cuisinart stainless pans. They were okay product, but they weren't higher end pans. And I always wanted, and then I had out of a whim, I bought this set of pans that were what do you call it, non-stick, and we were using them for a while, and this non-stick stuff wears off of them, and I never really liked them that much, and so I just always wanted a decent set of pans, so I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I still want to buy some more to replace. I'm still using some of the Cuisinart ones, and I want to replace them as well, but we'll see.
But then this led into, okay, we need a place to put them. And so he's down. I came upstairs, heard him clashing around. He's got all the pots and pans out of the cupboard and organizing them all, like ones we keep, ones we're not keeping. And of course, we have plastic containers. Like everybody has plastic containers, right? You know, those like ones that are the cheapo disposable ones, and you can never find the damn lid for them. So I figured we might as well get into this. And we took all the plastic stuff out of the cupboard as well, and I matched up lids with all the containers. If there was a container without a lid, it went in the garbage. If there was a lid without a bottom, it went in the garbage, and we got all sorted out. And I have these baskets where the lids are all in the baskets, and all of the plastic is up where we can see it, because the cupboard, our kitchen cupboard, is one of those ones where we keep the plastic pans that goes way back into a corner, and it's not designed in such a way that you could put in, well, I suppose you could put in one of those round things,
I think
but
that one wouldn't work very
probably
well.
not. And it's very deep. In fact, it's so dark in there and deep. We have a light in there that occasionally works, like one of those.
Actually, I gotta put a new battery in there.
Yeah, it's a battery operated one, a motion detector on it, because you can't see in the far corner. You can literally crawl in there and hide if there wasn't stuff in it. So we dug out all kinds of crap we didn't have. I found a measuring cup that we've had for probably 40 years. I think
it was in bad shape.
Actually, that measuring cup, we've had it more than 40 years, because that's a measuring cup I had in the apartment before I met you. Holy crap. Talk about your vintage plastic. And it's a crappy thing. It should have been thrown out a long time ago. But yeah, so everything's nicely organized in there. We might try very hard to keep it that way. We'll see how that works out. But so it was a bit of a chore, but wasn't something I was figuring on doing that particular day, but I'm glad it's done. Kind of inspired me, got me in the mood that we have other cupboards that need to be cleaned out too. Well, but I'm over it now. So I have to wait till the next time we get in the mood for that kind of thing. Just looking at what people are saying here. Barb says, is she the lady who had a birthday party a while back? I remember seeing her quote on your channel. Yes, that's the lady who had the 60th birthday party we went to. Yes. And Inez says her sister's a garment sewer, but she was never interested. Heidi's here. Hi, Heidi. Barb says, I bought a set of La Costina pans years ago. Still enjoy using them. They've always had a good reputation.
Yeah, they're good. The only thing was I did read people, and it seems to be that way now more than ever, that if you buy a set of pots, right, like instead of buying individual pieces, a lot of times the sets have small pans in them, and they don't have any really good size pans. So if you want a really good size pan other than the set, you still have to buy separate pieces. Well, instead of buying a set, I decided to just buy some good sized pans.
Yeah. In fact, when we were over at Costco the other day, they had some decent pans there, but they were in sets, and then you can see them. And the little ones, yeah, when you first look at them, you think, oh yeah, well, when I want to make an egg or something. But maybe if you lived on your own, you might use the smaller pans. I don't know, but we don't end up using the smaller pans. So we just got the bigger ones. But they are nice pans. I'm afraid to use them. I haven't used them yet. Walter does. Because, well, if something goes wrong, I'll get blamed for that. Inez says she wants a good set of knives. Just got the pots and pans after many years, but she hates cooking.
Yeah, actually, I had a chef's knife that I wanted to replace it was worn down. And last year I was looking at sets, and then I thought, screw that. I use the chef's knife more than anything. I'll just buy a new chef's knife. I didn't spend a lot for the chef's knife.
No, but I can't put it in the dishwasher.
No, you can't put it in the dishwasher. But actually, you shouldn't put your knives in the dishwasher anyway, because it can screw up it can screw up the sharpness of the knife. It stays sharper longer because of the corrosive dish detergent can cause problems with the sharpness.
Okay, did not know that. Learn something new every day. I'm still putting the other knives in the dishwasher. They're all stainless in the handles and everything.
Yeah, but even the ones that I looked at that are completely stainless, they say no, you can't wash them in the dishwasher.
Well, what's the point then? Just pull the stuff apart with your teeth. What the heck? Like, really? Andy says she started buying Calphone.
Yeah, Calphalon.
Calphalon pans.
I have heard of them.
About 25 years ago. They're still in great shape because I do not put them in the dishwasher. Well, the problem too with pans is you can't get them in the dishwasher most of the time and anything else because they take up so much space. So you end up having to wash them by hand anyways.
I like washing them by hand.
I like putting them in the dishwasher and getting them in, but apparently, no, not supposed to do that either. So we need a maid.
I don't mind. I mean, dishes are one thing, but the pans tend to take up a lot of space in the dishwasher, and I like for if I'm cleaning one or two pans, but big deal.
Andy says to Inez, she's had really good luck with Henkel knives.
The Henkel knives are, if you're made in Germany, great, but a lot of the Henkel knives now are made over in China. And not saying that China is a bad thing, but I have read that some of them, people complain that some of them will rust. So
yeah, well, we've got steak knives that are mega ones. They're big suckers. They're lethal weapons. Dubrovka says, I just bought new pots and had to reorganize my cupboard yesterday, and I do have the corner like that too. Yeah, and I mean, I used to think when I was much younger that was really cool. You go in these houses and they had that corner thing that spun around. I thought that was neat. But now, that I'm much older, they don't hold a lot.
And actually, they do waste a fair bit of space.
Yeah, with them. So, no. I would like something. Now, there's those drawers, though, you see.
Yes, yeah, that's what I would like. If we replaced our kitchen cupboards, I'd get more drawers or something.
Yeah, those big drawers that come out, and everything in them. I think those would work pretty good. Barb says she bought hers individually. I'm assuming she means her pots. Angel says pan size matters. Yeah. Bigger the better. Monkey Man says, hi, Stephen Walter. Beautiful day here in New Hampshire. It's good to know. Nancy's here. Hi, Nancy. And Annette says she didn't know about the dishwasher either. Yeah. Philippa's here. Hi, Philippa. We missed you today on Russ's, but you're probably still tired out from the pop-up soda day because you were on until the wee hours of the morning for you. Monkey says, I went with friends this morning on a riverboat cruise down the Connecticut River. Saw an eagle. So beautiful. Oh, a riverboat cruise down the Connecticut. Nancy says she is the dishwasher. Glenn is here. And Heidi says, if you look at Henkel logo, some knives have one little man and some have two. The ones with two little men are higher quality.
Okay, I did not know that.
Did not. That's interesting. I'll have to look at our steak knives and see what's on those. Jeannie's here. Hi, Jeannie. And Brenda's here. Geez, Brenda, you're just doing the circuit today, aren't you, dear? And it says, see what happens. You buy pots and now you need the kitchen cupboards changed. Well, we need
a lot of things.
We need a lot of things, but because we like to travel, we put them on a hold. But I think it's getting to the point where we may have to seriously think about these things. Charlotte's here. Hi, Charlotte. So we did buy some other new things, though. We haven't got them yet. Of course, Apple came out with their new iPhones and new iWatches. So yes, Friday we ordered new iPhone 16 Pros, and we both ordered new iWatches Series 10. We have iWatches Series 6s on that. And and then we had to get screen protector for the phone, and we had to get cases.
And we decided, because our current phones are still not that old, that we decided to trade them in. We get a good value for them. So.
Yeah, actually, we checked first of all how much they'd give us for the watches. Well, $75. Well, that's nothing. In fact, I'm thinking of offering my iWatch to my sister. She'll refuse it. I don't need that. But whatever. And if I don't know, I guess the kids, they must have iPhones. I don't know if they have iWatches or not. Well, if they don't, she doesn't want it, I'll give her first grabs. I'll let the kids fight over it. Whatever. And the iPhones, well, they're expensive. But well, see, we buy them outright. We don't go on one of those plans or anything. And I had a little problem when I dropped this onto my credit card, which has nothing on it because I don't carry a balance on my credit cards. I got an email from Apple saying my payment didn't go through. I should contact my credit card company about it. So I did. Yeah, the reason it didn't go through was because it was a large amount. Well, thank you very much. I know they're doing it for security reasons and the whole bit, but I've had this problem with this particular company before. Like when we were in Australia, if you remember, I had a problem. They locked me out, and they say you don't need to bother to call them up and tell them about any of this stuff. Say to them, look, I'm making a major purchase here, or I'm going out of the country. They said, no worry, we'll figure that out. No, they don't. But anyways, I got it sorted out.
My account seemed to work.
Oh, shut up. Yeah, yours always, it's always me. But anyways, it's all gone through. Now, they're supposed to come on the 20th of September, so a week from this Friday. No, it's this Friday.
This Friday coming up.
It's this Friday, yeah, coming up. So, yeah, kind of excited about it. I did get, mine's bigger than Walter's in terms of memory.
Yeah.
You only went for 256. I went for 512. But the trade-in on the phones is pretty good. It's almost $600. So I said, okay, yep. Originally, I was planning to hang on to the old phone because I've got another iPhone that I actually used when I'm doing, the live days and things like that. The pop-ups that sits near my sewing machine because it's hooked into my Elgato, my Stream Deck. So I can there's an app on it, and I can just push that from there to change the cameras and stuff. So I was thinking, well, I use the old one for that, but when I found out I can get $600 for it, I thought, nope, I'll just stick with what I've got right now. That'll do fine. Thank you very much. So yeah, and it's got a better camera in it and lots of other features. And
it's I went from when I was this is actually my third.
This is our third iPhone.
No, I had
no, we had a 6. Then we got 10s. And then now we 14s. Have 14s, and now we're getting this. So we've had this will be our fourth.
But prior to getting an iPhone 6, long time, quite a while ago now, I always cheaped out and bought the cheapest phones I could get, and I was on the cheapest plans. I never had a smartphone until I got 6, and because it was cheap, I wouldn't spend the money. And now,
bastard.
Now I use the phone. I use it for everything.
That's the thing.
And that's it. I mean, it's almost more important than my computer. So yeah, because I use it for so many things, and communication is one of the smaller features that I use it for.
Really, I don't talk to anybody. I don't call somebody. I will text them.
So it's become an integral part of my life. And I mean, I used to go out and buy cameras all the time too, like a decent quality camera and stuff like that. Spent a lot of money on that. and I don't do that anymore. So
Yeah. Well, I got one with more memory. It cost a little bit more. I think the difference was about $300, wasn't it? To go
mhm,
to a
mhm,
512 from a
mhm.
256. But the reason is because when we go on trips and that, and when I want to send my videos to YouTube or that, or do some live things and that, it eats memory. Video eats memory up on the camera. And there were some times when I was trying to compile a video from the day's activities when we were in Australia, and I couldn't do it on the iPhone because it wanted me to, I needed more space. So it meant I either had to transfer stuff over to iCloud, pictures and stuff, and to free it up. Well, actually, you can't do that because iCloud just matches what's on your phone, so it's the same diff. But luckily, I had my iPad with me, so I'd have to do that. But the processing speed was much slower too. So I'm hoping on this one, by getting one with 512 instead
Yeah,
of 256, this will be better because I use my phone a lot for
yeah,
videoing.
and then when we go on a trip, I use it a lot for navigating through a city
Yeah,
by walking. I do all the mapping and stuff like that on a city. We do we've gotten used to using Apple Pay, so a
yep,
lot of places now will accept Apple Pay for transportation. So you just tap on and tap off and
yep.
all that other stuff, and it is becoming more and more difficult not to live with an electronic device, right? And I believe that the older you get, I think you need to keep up on these
Yeah,
things.
because
And
there's too many people out there who say, well, I don't need a smartphone. I don't need that. I'm sorry, but it is coming to the day where it's not whether you want one or not. It is you will need one. Yeah, because everything is geared towards that.
or geared towards some sort of computing
Yeah.
device.
So, you can't keep your head in a hole.
And like it is, it's great for travel. I use it for navigation for travel. All my music's on it because my car is connected, has Apple CarPlay. Or you can use Android as well. And so all my music is streamed through my car if I want it. I do all kinds of things with it, and my navigation is through that. All sorts of things. And even last year, not that you want this to happen, but I was involved in a car
Mm-hmm.
accident, and my phone cocked without me knowing about it. My phone detected the car crash. They contacted Steve because he's my emergency number, and they called 911
Yeah.
at the same time uh, on my behalf to get me help.
Yeah.
And that alone was worth it.
And all the new things that they have on the latest iPhone, there is so much stuff you'll never ever use it all, but it's there. And one thing I'm dreading when we get the new phones is, first of all, we have to do the migration from the old phone to the new phone with all of our information in that, although that's fairly easy to do the way that Apple sets it up. But and we are not sponsored by Apple, people.
No, we
Um,
just have the Apple ecosystem. I do like it. I like that if I put something in my calendar on my computer or what it all shows up in the other places. So
Yeah. So it's become an integral part of our lives. I mean, it is a computer in your pocket. Um and I can't live without it, and I can't live without this watch.
well, see, I also come from my whole life. When I worked, I was a software developer, so I my whole life revolved around electronics and computers and things. So I've just extended that into my life as a retired man. So, and it's become more important. And I used to cheap out on phones and stuff and not renew them that often, but I find it's a nice little toy.
Yeah,
It's expensive,
it is
but
very
there's lots of
expensive.
other things that are expensive in life, and I'm at a position right now, not that I'm super rich or anything, but that I can afford to upgrade. So why not?
Well, I look at it now not as a luxury item. I look at it as a necessity. That may be because Apple has brainwashed us all over the years and everything like that. But I really do like their product. I would never consider getting, an Android phone or things like that. Now, I am sure if you're an Android user and it does what you want it to do and you're happy with it, that's great. But I have all Apple products in my house.
Well, I also like Apple because they support their devices, and if you do keep it for a long period of time, they will constantly update your what do you call it, your operating systems, and it's fairly seamless that how they do it, and that's what I like about it. So,
And the thing too is because I have a Mac computer, I have iPads, all of them talk to each other instantaneously. If I use something on my phone and like say I make a note on my phone in the notepad or whatever, it's instantly transferred without me having to do anything to my computer. It's seamless. And I really like that feature of it. I mean, I held out for years against Mac products, against Apple products. When I was a school teacher, I couldn't. Our school didn't operate with Macs. They operate on Windows-based machines, and I had lots of Windows-based machines, and I still have Windows-based computers right down this room. I don't use them that much, but I do use them for a few things that I have them basically dedicated to. But
and we got rid of our landlines, so we
yep.
use our phones as our main communication devices.
And I was a real holdout on getting rid of the landline for quite a while. And finally I said, okay.
And so it's much easier if I give a business my phone number and they contact me right away. I know one lady here in this says that she doesn't want a phone. She doesn't want anybody to track her. And she doesn't want, why are you going nefarious places?
Yes, I know. Well, guess what, though, Inez? You're already being tracked with or without a phone.
Yeah.
There is a camera on every street corner, everywhere. People have ring doorbells that, you may not be going to their door, but it's picking you up as you go by on the street.
And then she says her husband be calling her all the time. Well, you don't have to answer your husband.
Yeah.
You just... You just let it ring and let it go to voicemail.
Go to voicemail. Use the technology in that way.
I mean, we as individuals, we have a phone. I'm not constantly on my phone. I mean, I am in the internet maybe a little bit more. I check my email regularly and stuff like that. I'll look at a text message if I get it. But I mean, between the two of us, we really don't tend to text each other very much or call each other or anything like that. We tend not to do it. If you don't, there are things on your phone where people can see where you are. You can turn that off. You don't have to have that on there.
And Walter has his turned off.
However, if you, but if you're involved in a motor accident or you're involved in a crime of some sort, that's one way that the police can track you. So, but is that a bad thing?
Yeah.
You got to decide that.
I mean, the fact is, yes, we are headed towards what Orwell said in 1984 in some ways. Big Brother's watching. But Big Brother has been watching us for quite a few years. They've been watching us before we even got into iPhone technology and stuff in other ways. So, what are you going to do? That's just the way the 21st century works these days. And we talked about this before, and more things are leaning towards AI. Well, yeah, Terminator, yeah, coming up. So, let's see. Walter, is that your new shirt? Love the fabric. Says,
yep.
Okay, yes,
that's my new shirt.
Jan was late because she's making a 10-course dinner.
It is Aboriginal Australian fabric.
Yeah.
I bought in Australia.
Yeah. Derek says, I hold on to phones until they creak along and have steam coming out of them. Gives me chest pain when I see the price of replacement phones. Yes. I just dropped between the iWatch and the iPhone over $3,000. Could have used that to buy fabric.
Yeah, but, I was like you too, Derek, when I was working full time and we had more payments and things like that. And yeah, I dreaded having to replace it, but I I've become a little bit more. I used to be very thrifty, but now
Well,
I still am really thrifty. It's just that this is an important item that I like, and it's something
yeah,
that I justify in my mind that I want it. So
I don't justify it.
I mean,
I want it.
lots of people spend like tons of money on cars and tons of money on other things, and they don't think twice about
You
it.
don't have to
No, I
justify
don't
it.
have to justify it by anybody. It's something I want, but like it's just it. Like everybody has their thing, so
Yeah, well, you're sitting there trying to justify
no,
it now.
no, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You're like, what do people think? What I have to make this? No,
I
I
mean,
want
we
it. I
had
bet it.
friends for years that every year, every single year, as soon as
Yeah,
a new phone comes out, they were getting another one.
they were getting another one. Yeah, all the time. And we used to say, yeah, really? I mean, we're moving from a 14 to a 16.
That's our that's our soonest
Yeah,
one
that
that
we've
we've
ever
ever
done.
done.
Yeah,
We usually have waited 4 or 5 years before we change phones.
yeah.
So
Patsy says she lives in a split household. She's Apple and her husband's Android and Windows. Um, and then Ez says, my kids have the phones with bells and whistles. Oh, yeah. The kids always have them.
but they're up on things like and that I mean I as we get older I see a lot of people being left behind and not in the technology world, like what happens when you can't write checks anymore and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's where we're going, and we're going there very rapidly. So, like we said, we use our phones when we pay for things now, like the Apple Wallet. We got hooked on that. Well, I got hooked on it when we were in Australia.
Yeah, we did. I did too,
Yeah.
and I use it all the time now, a year or two. So
Yeah. Dubrovka says you have to get iPhone before you turn 70. After that, it is game over. Yeah, well, I don't intend to be game over at 70. I want to keep up on the technology because there's a lot of older people out there who are completely lost and are at the whim of other people.
and they're also at the whim of scammers too.
Yes, and that kind of thing. I mean, we have to keep up with it. In fact, somebody was talking about on the weekend on the pop-up so day that she was trying to help her mother with her phone, with her technology or stuff, and you know she was lost. Her mother was completely lost with it. My mother would be completely lost. That was for sure. But she doesn't have to worry right now. She's dead. But, I think as long as we can possibly keep up with things, reasonably with it, we need to. I mean, there may come a day when it will go beyond us, but that day is not today. So, um, Sue says, anyone following me is going to be bored. I'm either downstairs sewing at the quilt shop or picking up grocery orders at Walmart. Yeah. Derek says, I think my attitude to spending on phones is probably a historic thing in my psyche from my parents about prices. And you're right. We use these devices constantly so cheap when you consider that. Yeah.
I mean, even if you think when I was growing up and in the 70s, and they came out one time with a calculator that all it did was add and subtract and that. And I bought one of those. I was making $1.85 an hour. I bought one of those, and it was $80 for the calculator.
Yeah, I know.
And if you think of that, that was probably a lot of money compared to what an iPhone cost.
I remember when I got my first scientific calculator. In fact, my parents bought me one that came from Sears and for Christmas one year, and I think those suckers were like 30 or 40 bucks.
They were 50 or 60 bucks.
Well, maybe that was how much they were then. But, that was a lot of money in the mid 70s when I got it, like about 74, 73, whenever that. So, we've come a long way, baby. Patsy says, we are retired and deserve to get what we want. Exactly. And it's not like we're leaving our money to our kids. We don't have any. And in fact, I don't think anybody should be leaving money to their kids. Let them earn it. You earned yours. Let them get out there and earn their own. I hear too many people talk about, well, I want to make sure when I'm gone, the kids have something and whatnot. Screw the kids. But whatever. Robert Cox says, hate new devices, awkward getting used to it, prefer good old standby. Well, Robert, don't take an insult to this, but that is an old man attitude. Okay, I'm sorry, but you got to keep up.
And not only that, a lot of the devices, the newer devices that are coming out, are building up on previous models.
Yeah.
So your old things still work. It's just that there may be some new features or whatever, or things that work a little different.
I mean, you might look at it this point, boy. You get to a certain age where your brain needs to be stimulated. Well, new technology will stimulate your brain. Yes, it may be a bit of a headache, but my mother's attitude, and one of the reasons why she dropped dead when she did, was she had this attitude, well, it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, like, I mean, and then at one point in time, she decided she wanted an iPad. So your sister got her an iPad, and she refused to learn it. I mean, she wouldn't even turn it on. It was constantly recharging. She wouldn't even look up the weather on it or anything like that. And you would think that alone would have been would have been a good entertainment source. The only thing she ever did is watch one TV channel, not even change her
because
channel.
She'd screw up the remote control all the time.
She was afraid to use the remote control on their TV set, and that was in her 70s.
Yeah. And it wasn't because my mother was suffering from dementia or anything like that. She just said she didn't want, even back when my father was still alive and had a computer, and he tried to get her interested. He said, well, you try. And she says, no, I'm not interested. I don't want to learn that.
And then of course she couldn't figure out how to use the radio in their car.
No.
Because it was electronic.
Yeah.
And that goes from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. If you don't learn these things, then you won't be able to drive a car because you won't be able to use technology in your car.
No. So, I mean, yeah, I don't really want to be like that. So, who knows? Mary says, your money, you should spend it on things that make you happy. Exactly. And Patsy says, we're busy spending our children's inheritance. Yeah. I have Dubrovka says, I have a iPhone 14 now. We'll wait on your review before I switch. Love new technology. Yeah, I've loved my iPhone 14, but I'm going to love the new one more. But anyways, yeah, so those were our big expenses this week with it. So I'm sure you're going to hear more about them once we get them into our grubby little hands. So I already told you that today is my niece's 30th birthday. My sister told me last weekend, she said that my niece is feeling a little depressed because she's turning 30. Because, well, my niece works, she has a job, but she lives at home still. And, she pays for things. She has a car, she pays her own car payments and insurance and all that kind of stuff. But she's kind of having a midlife crisis before she gets into midlife. She sort of said, my sister said, she's sort of going, well,
I guess she has a friend that's getting married.
Yeah.
And she's got her own house. And
that people are moving away from her. Like, she feels like she's being left in the dust, kind of a thing. And, this made me start thinking about the changes that we go through with every decade. And I said to my sister, yeah, but she's only going to be 30. I remember my 20s as being a very confusing time. I mean, I'd started teaching. I'd just gotten out of university. I got my first teaching job. I'm living on my own. I'm not making a heck of a lot of money. You go on this. All the people that I went to university with that were my friends have all moved on to their jobs and other things, not even living in the same area because we all had a common place when we lived at university. And I didn't have friends either. And luckily I was working in the same town that I grew up in. So, I mean, I did stay in touch with my family and, every Sunday night I was over there for dinner. But when I think back on my 20s, and that there were some fun times. There was a group of us. I met Walter, and then we hung out with a few other teacher friends that I did make and that, but we were obnoxious. as 20 in our 20s. You know, people over 30 seemed old to us, and we let them know that, and we thought we were just cool and posh, and we were assholes at that age. Then the 30s came and we bought our first house together. Suddenly you've moved into being an adult. When you do that, you have a mortgage to pay, car payments, utilities, stuff like that. You got more involved with your career and that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, and so that was a totally different world. And I think I enjoyed my 30s in many ways much more so than in my 20s. What do you think? What about your 30s?
Yeah, actually, we were a little bit more established.
A little more
I
mature.
had a, I had switched jobs, right?
Yeah.
And I had, we had responsibilities.
Yeah, we had responsibilities and
And in my 30s, my mid 30s, my father passed away, so I had to deal with that. And your parents are getting older, and I had to look after my mother and stuff like that. So you end up with lots more responsibilities as you get older, type of thing.
then, continuing education, I decided I was going to do my master's degree. So, that was eating into my free time as well. That was because I was working full time and going basically to night school to university to get my master's degree. And so there was all of that. And then suddenly you wake up one morning and you're 40. Now, 40 was a little bit difficult if I remember. Because at that point, you're not in your 20s and not in your 30s, and you're looking and going, oh my God, 30 to 40 went fast. 50's the next major milestone. How fast is this going to go? And oh my God, I'll be a really old man because I still have that attitude that, that kind of thing. But by then the 40s, well, we moved into this house. We had assets.
We had equity.
We had equity. We had better paying, like our situation in our jobs was better, making more money and that kind of thing. We were doing traveling, and things like that. What do you got? Something stuck up your
No.
And so the 40s were actually much more secure, I think. You kind of things didn't surprise you as much. You coped with whatever your life had to deal with. Then you get into your 50s. Now 50s. 50 didn't bother me. 51 bothered me because 50 was sort of like, this is a major milestone. You don't feel 50, at least I didn't. Still going, things are great, like all this kind of stuff. But when 51 hit, realized, holy crap, I'm 4 years from being able to retire. Don't old people retire? What am I going to do? And bang, 55 hit. And for the next 2 years of my life, I kind of, when I was retired, I drifted from one thing to another thing before I got my feet wet. He was still working.
Yeah,
So,
I worked for another 6 years.
So, there was a lot of lonely time on because he's at work, I'm home, and that. So I was looking for things to do. And, but we were traveling more too in those days as well. And then 60. And you think about your parents. I remember when my dad turned 60. He had a big party and the whole bit. And then when my mom turned 60. And 60 was a little bit more difficult, but not as difficult as 65. 65 was, oh my God, I qualify for seniors discounts everywhere. Well, that's a good part of it. But every decade is something a little different for you. And, right now I'm thinking I'm 3 years away from being 70. How did that happen? But I'm not gonna do what like some people do. I'm not gonna sit there and worry about it. It happens. You can't stop it. And right now I'm in reasonably good health. Um, Even better health now that we're on the Quilter diet. All my favorite foods are
What?
Not.
Well, you can eat whatever you want.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like
You can have mac and cheese.
oh yeah, I did. I had that yesterday. You weren't here, and I ate the whole bloody box, and I put fruity sauce from HP on it as well. It was delicious, and I had people on pop up telling me all the chemicals that are in it. And as I told
And
them, I
actually,
love
the,
chemicals.
the the version that's sold in Canada does not have as many chemicals as the one that's in the U.S. So
Yeah, but yeah. Well, this morning I made him a breakfast burrito using his ancient grain tortillas, which just fall apart.
you overzap them.
I didn't zap them.
Oh,
I put them in the panini thing. It
no,
was
you roll them up when they're.
yeah. I rolled them up, and that's when they started
They
to split.
didn't. They don't split when I do it.
Oh, you're so good at that. Why don't you? I'm going back to avocado toast. I don't blow it. Whatever. They were still delicious. They just look gross. But whatever. But I guess I don't know. How do you convey it to a young person that, 30 is just the beginning? I mean, your niece bought a house. She's a single girl. She was living at home, and she didn't buy a house until she was 40.
Around there. Well,
Was it late 30s, early
late
40s?
30s, I think.
And she's on her own
Yeah.
still, and she's
She's
got
traveled all over the place on her
on
own.
her own, you know.
She yeah, she doesn't seem to have any desire to have a partner of any sort.
No.
So
She got a dog,
she got a dog, yeah.
Freddie. Well, my niece,
She's sort of like Andy, likes dogs better than people.
yeah. Well, my niece went to Stratford. Stratford is, a couple of hours to the west of us there in the summertime. She got a place on her own, like a hotel or whatever. She saw about 3 plays because Stratford is famous for its Shakespearean festival and that, and did that. Took herself out for dinners on the nights all by herself. So I thought, well, that's a good thing. I think she probably would have preferred if she had somebody she could travel with, but at least there's hope there that she did that, and I'm going to focus kind of on that when I talk to her, and if I hear her saying anything, but I'm going, Sarah, you could sit in a corner and feel sorry for yourself, but you got out there and you did that. So, I think that's a good thing for her as well. So yeah, so we're celebrating her 30th birthday. I don't know how that's going to go over, but hopefully she's in a better mindset set than she was. Now, midlife crisis. That she sounds like. So, is there really a midlife crisis? And oftentimes they associate that with men, usually in around 50, they get rid of their wife, get a blonde in a sports car.
Or get a sports car or whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, a number of men I see driving around, if you see a really cool sports car, there's an old fart.
There's an old fart driving it. Yeah. But then that might be, as we've already said here, why leave it to your kids? If that's something you want, do it.
Like, our friend Linda that time, and she decided she inherited a bunch of money, and she decided she always wanted a Mercedes-Benz convertible sports car. So she went out and bought a Mercedes-Benz convertible sports car.
Yeah, well, if you want it, get it. But I see Jen says, my 30s were great, except I was forever pregnant. Okay, there's that. But Kay said, I think 30s are hard for women who want to settle down and have a family. That is, I did not really think about that. But yeah, the biological clock, which is not something that men have to worry about with that. So I can see that is definitely, and maybe.
Well, see, the other thing is, didn't didn't Sarah get born when your sister was like 29?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah, something like that.
So now she's looking, when my mother was my age,
she had a kid.
She had a kid. Yeah. So,
and that kind of thing. So that could be. Philip is here. Hi, Philip. Unfortunately, I can't make Russ's sew day because of the time zone difference. I usually sleep half of the day, but that would be Monday and I'd had to work. Bummer. Oh yeah, right. That's yeah, because it would have been Monday for you when Russ was having it today. Jen says those chemicals help preserve us. Yes, that's the way I feel about it. I was raised on chemicals. If I don't have chemicals in my system, I'll go into withdrawal. Yeah. So more craft dinner. Always good. And then Pat says, life's a bitch and then you die or marry one. Glad a woman said that.
What, marry a corpse or what?
No, marry Mary bitch. That's the one I said, but I'm glad it was a woman that said that. With it. Oh, Mona's here. Hi, Mona. But anyways, yeah, people talk about aging as a state of mind. It is and it isn't. You know, what does that mean? Aging is a state of mind. Well, I guess it is. If you like, we were talking about my mother and
Yeah, I
not
know,
keeping
like
up
you
with
mean.
technology and people who don't keep up with that. That is all part of, oh, I'm too old to do that. I don't like that. I don't like it when I hear people say, oh, I'm too old to do that anymore. Okay, maybe skydiving if you're
Yeah,
80, but
or sitting in a roller coaster maybe, but
yeah, maybe. It's all fun and games until you break a hip. Yeah. But, but some people say, oh, I would never get one of those devices or whatever. I'm too old to learn how to do that. Well, to
or
me, that's a negative attitude.
or we did hear like your sister saying something about how her mother-in-law, her current mother-in-law, can't handle using her.
Her current mother-in-law?
Yeah,
She only
she only
has
has
one
one
mother-in-law.
mother-in-law.
That's all she's
Okay,
ever had.
her mother-in-law, and she's in her 80s, I think, and she doesn't know anything about how to text or
And she
use the
doesn't want
phone,
to learn.
and she doesn't want to learn.
Which is exactly like my mother with it too. So, I mean, yeah, it is scary. It is scary to learn new things sometimes, but keeps your mind going, I think.
And on because of that part of the thing, because they're not using their phone or whatever, she'll get emails or strange mails from people, and she doesn't know what to do with them.
Yeah. And that's what the scammers are focusing on, older people, because they figure older people aren't astute enough for this. Well, let's prove them wrong, people. Let's keep up. Heidi says growing old is inevitable. Growing up is optional. Very true. That is very true. So, anyways, we're coming to the end of our time here, but we did have a few comments this week. I just very quickly will review. I did ask, I've been asking for suggestions for a series we can do on So Chatty, and one person wrote, I suggest you do a cooking video series. It will be fun.
Steven makes pancakes.
There is a video on the channel from back about a year, 2 years ago or so when I tried to make Dutch pancakes and it turned into a comedy episode. I didn't intend it to be comedy, but it was. Cooking ones, I don't know.
We don't make stuff that's that interesting.
I don't know. Oh, well, thanks for the suggestion. But one thing, though, I was thinking of, though, but maybe if there's something Walter's making sometime, I do sometimes take video of him when he's making it, and he goes, go away, go away. But maybe I'll just do it anyways with it. Anonymous said here on about So Chatty, when Walter started speaking about attaching sleeves in a new way, I was very curious as I started sewing garments as a child quite few decades ago. Then the explanation came. Now my answer is definitely not to say that my way is the only way, but I was surprised to hear that your new technique was what I learned over 50 years ago. The McCall simplicity and butterick patterns I used all showed that technique in their instructions. I'm glad it worked for you, Walter. Well, yeah, it wasn't a new technique. It was just new to you.
It was just new to me because didn't learn how to do that way. I didn't learn how to do sleeves that way. I learned how to do sleeves a different way. And that way I've always was frustrated with it. So I went online and saw how other people were doing it and picked up on that, and that works for me. So, and yeah, it's an old technique, but it's not one that I had learned. So
yeah, and he's very excited about it now because that's what he's using all the time. And one other comment said about technology. I agree with relying in technology. I agree with relying in technology. Not sure what that phrase means.
On technology. I agree with relying on technology.
Oh, relying on technology. Okay. I don't have a cell phone only because it's something else for me to carry. However, as we age, we do forget things because I think when you retire, it's not that important anymore. And if we forget it, we can go back and get it later. I have always remembered things by saying I have 5 items to get at the store and remember that way. Things don't seem to be a priority anymore. Well, that's my reasoning and I'm sticking to it. Try not to let consume you or you'll forget even more. Ask me. This wasn't so much about technology, but it was more in relationship to my vlog rant the other day when I was talking about memory. And, am I losing my memory? Is there too many things to remember and it's clouding it? Whatever, and that kind of stuff. And several people said that the things that I think about my memory, they're going through the same thing, and it's just nature, I guess, or whatever. So, anyways, thank you, everybody. We've got to leave. And thanks for joining us today. It's been one heck of a weekend with 2 days and everything else that's going on and whatnot. Now a dinner to go to. So next week, check out the other videos that we put out and whatnot, and we'll see everybody.
See, and Stephanie and Steven sewing.
Yeah, Stephanie and Steven sewing on Wednesdays as usual, 9 a.m. Be there, be square, and have a good week, everybody. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.